Former gifted kid syndrome. Why smart kids feel lost as adults. You were the smart one, the gifted one. So why do you feel so lost now? Let's talk about something no one warned you about. When you were a kid, school felt easy. You finished tests early. Teachers praised you. Adults said, "You're going to do great things." And for a while that felt good. You built your identity around being smart, not disciplined, not resilient, not socially confident. Smart. That worked in school. But adulthood is a different game. In school, the rules were clear. Study. Take the test. Get the grade. Win approval. In adult life, there is no clear test. No gold star. No one claps when you quietly pay your bills on time. No one hands you an A for surviving a hard week. So something strange happens. The gifted kid grows up and feels average, or worse, behind. This is what people call former gifted kid syndrome. It's not a clinical diagnosis, but it's real. It shows up quietly. You overthink simple decisions. You start projects but don't finish them. You feel intense pressure to be exceptional. And when you're not, you feel ashamed. Let's understand why. When you were young, intelligence came easily. You didn't have to struggle much, so you never built a relationship with failure. Failure felt foreign, embarrassing, threatening. Other kids learned how to fail early. They tried sports. They lost. They tried again. You learned how to avoid failure. You stayed in areas where you were naturally good. You protected your identity. Because being the smart one wasn't just a compliment, it was your safety. Psychologists call this a fixed mindset. When praise focuses on talent instead of effort, children learn something dangerous. If I struggle, maybe I'm not smart. So when adulthood gets hard, and it always does, you don't think, "This is normal." You think, "Something is wrong with me." Now add social pressure. In school, being smart gave you status. Teachers liked you. Parents bragged about you. But in adult life, intelligence alone doesn't create power. Emotional control does. Social awareness does. Consistency does. And many former gifted kids were never trained in those skills. Maybe you were quiet. Maybe you spent more time with books than with people. You learned information, but not always influence. Now you're in meetings, or group chats, or relationships, and you notice something unsettling. The loudest person often wins, not the smartest. The confident person gets promoted, not always the most capable. This creates internal conflict. You think, "I know I'm smart, so why am I not ahead?" Because life rewards visible value, not hidden intelligence. Here's another layer. Gifted kids often tie love to achievement. When you got good grades, people were proud. When you succeeded, you were celebrated. So unconsciously, you learned, "I am valuable when I perform." Now, as an adult, you carry invisible pressure. Every decision feels heavy. Every career move feels like it must be extraordinary. You don't just want a job, you want a calling. You don't just want a relationship, you want a deep cinematic connection. Average feels like failure, but chasing exceptional can paralyze you. Perfectionism becomes your prison. You delay starting because the plan isn't perfect. You avoid applying because your resume isn't flawless. You stay silent because your words aren't brilliant enough. Meanwhile, less talented but more decisive people move forward, and that hurts. So what do most former gifted kids do? They retreat, they scroll, they research, they prepare, they think. Thinking feels productive, but action feels risky. Because action exposes you to judgment. If you try and fail, maybe you were never that smart. So you stay in your head. But silence can be power, if you use it correctly. There's a difference between hiding in silence and choosing silence. Hiding silence is fear. Choosing silence is control. In social settings, you don't have to be the loudest, but you do need presence. Presence is calm eye contact, measured speech, listening fully before responding. When you speak less but with clarity, people lean in. This is social power, not dominance, not arrogance, controlled energy. Former gifted kids often over-explain. You want people to understand your reasoning, your depth, your nuance. But confident people don't over-justify. They state, they pause, they let silence work for them. Try this in a meeting. Instead of explaining for 3 minutes, say your point in one clear sentence. Then stop. Let the room sit with it. Silence is uncomfortable, but discomfort signals authority. You don't rush to fill the gap. You let others process. This small shift changes how people see you. Now let's talk about emotional control. When your identity is built on being smart, criticism feels personal. Feedback doesn't feel like data. It feels like a threat. So you either defend yourself or shut down. Neither builds confidence. True confidence is not believing you're brilliant. It's knowing you can handle being wrong. That's freedom. Imagine someone challenges your idea. Old reaction. You explain harder. You prove. You argue. New reaction. You listen. You nod. You say, "That's interesting. I'll think about that." Calm. Unshaken. That's emotional maturity. And emotional maturity outranks intelligence in adult life. Here's a difficult truth. You were praised for potential. But potential is not performance. Many gifted kids grow up addicted to potential. You like being the one who could, the one with hidden talent, the one who might do something great someday. Because as long as it's someday, you can't fail. But real adults ship imperfect work. They launch before they feel ready. They risk being average. This is where you reclaim your power, not by trying to feel special again, but by accepting being normal. Normal routines, normal effort, normal repetition. There is quiet strength in consistency. Wake up, work out, do the task, improve 1%, no applause, but progress. You don't need to impress everyone in the room. You need to outlast your old self. Let's look at relationships. Former gifted kids often struggle here too. You may overanalyze texts, overthink conversations, replay moments in your head. You want to say the perfect thing, but connection isn't built on perfection. It's built on presence. When someone talks, don't search for the smartest reply. Just listen. Ask one simple follow-up question. Let them feel seen. Social power is making others feel understood, not proving your intellect. And if someone doesn't recognize your advantage, as an adult, your advantage. As an adult, self-regulation is your advantage. Can you stay calm under pressure? Can you finish what you start? Can you accept being a beginner again? Because adulthood forces you to be a beginner many times. New job, new city, new relationship. If you avoid beginner status, you avoid growth. So instead of protecting your identity as smart, build a new identity. I am someone who learns, not someone who knows. This removes the fear. Learning includes mistakes, awkwardness, failure, and that's fine. Another hidden struggle is comparison. You look at peers. Some are ahead financially. Some are confident socially. Some seem certain about their path. And you think, I was supposed to be further. Supposed to. According to who? The praise you received at age 10? Life is not a straight line. Early advantage does not guarantee early success. Some people peak in school. Some peak later. Some evolve continuously. Your timeline is not broken. It's unfolding. but only if you act. So here's a simple framework. First, shrink the goal. Instead of, I need to find my life purpose, try, what skill can I improve this month? Instead of, I must be exceptional, try, can I be consistent for 30 days? Second, practice controlled exposure to discomfort. Speak up once in every meeting. Apply for the role even if you feel 80% ready. Start the project before it's perfect. You are retraining your nervous system. Failure is not identity death, it's data. Third, detach your worth from outcomes. If you try and it fails, you are still intelligent. If someone disagrees with you, you are still capable. Your value is not on trial. And finally, redefine confidence. Confidence is not loud certainty. It is quiet self-trust. It is saying, I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. That sentence is powerful because it removes the pressure to already be great. Former gifted kids often live in the future, imagining the life they could have, the impact they might make. But power lives in the present action. Send the email, make the call, write the page, go to the gym. Small, unglamorous moves. Over time they compound, and something interesting happens. You stop obsessing over being gifted. You start respecting yourself for being disciplined. You stop chasing validation. You start building evidence. Evidence that you can handle discomfort. Evidence that you can recover from mistakes. Evidence that you can grow. That's real confidence. And one day, you notice something subtle. You're in a room. You're not the loudest, not the flashiest, but you're calm. You speak clearly. You don't rush. You don't over-explain. You don't need to prove you're smart. Because you're no longer protecting that identity, you've built something deeper, stability. And here's the quiet truth. You were never meant to stay the gifted kid. You were meant to become the grounded adult. Intelligence was your starting point, not your final form. So if you feel lost right now, it doesn't mean you've fallen. It might mean you're shedding an old identity. The gold star is gone. Good. Now you get to build self-respect without an audience. And that is far more powerful. If this resonated, sit with it. Reflect on where you've been protecting potential instead of building proof. And if you're ready to grow into your next level quietly, steadily, without needing applause, subscribe and stay close. We're building something deeper here. Not gifted kids, grounded adults.